Greetings and welcome to a Friday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is March 21st. Andy, how are we doing?
Brendan, we're doing great. You know, this is the best weekend of the year, maybe.
Up there. Masters is up there.
Yeah.
You know, Sanderson weekend, that's a good one.
These next few weekends, just hurtling towards the Masters.
It's a beautiful time of year. Some people argue October when you have the playoff baseball plus football is fabulous and the return of it. But this is it. This is a great one. My kid's home sick. He was all stressed. He was missing school. I was like, dude.
What a day to be sick.
You're legitimately homesick. This is the all-time day. So we're not going to bog you down.
In school, we used to just watch basketball. I feel like I just watched basketball the days.
They'd roll the TV in the cart, right?
Yeah.
If you had a good teacher. Sometimes, you had at least I had some nuns who had no idea that basketball existed. But yeah, it was great. It was fabulous, starting at noon. So we weren't going to bog you down on this Friday episode with a bunch of talk about the Valspar. Andy, I'm starting the timer now, 40 minutes. We'll see if we can stick to it. I will be despondent. If we go past 40 minutes. We're going to do a flashback, some golf advice. Go ahead.
Bermuda Burns, just right away up to the top. Yeah.
Kashmir Keith, current leader.
Keith Mitchell, Sam Burns. These are Valspar merchants, snake pit merchants.
They love snake charmers. What we'll call them. I mean, Sam Burns, I wouldn't say he's been trash, but he's not been very good.
Has not been a elite player.
Yeah, we're gonna rip through some news. We'll get the golf advice. Then you are giddy, I would say, bursting about a little Chip Beck flashback. Apparently, you've done.
It's this pen light. What is that? What we call them? Pen light. You there? Oh no, there he is.
I lost it. We have no PJ today.
No PJ.
Comcast
jamming us. The Johnnies.
He's taking a boat. He's taking a ferry. I'm very curious about the dynamic of taking a ferry from Long Island to Providence. He says
doesn't like boats.
Way out on boats, which I'd say generally I'm not a big fan of boats. I don't really understand the whole boat life.
I'm a fan of boats. You are a fan. Yeah, I enjoy my time. I feel like I reach full relaxation when I'm on a boat.
Not worried about a wave coming and pow, taking you out of nowhere. You're kind of floating out there.
Unlike you coastal elites, my boat culture happens on like wonderful, beautiful lakes.
In northern Wisconsin and Michigan.
Yeah, I'm not a Michigan lake guy. I'm a Wisconsin lake guy.
Yeah.
I'm not a Wisconsin lake guy. I'm a Michigan lake guy.
Yeah.
That's where the best lakes are. Definitely, the best lakes definitely aren't in Ohio. We've covered that.
I guess they're debating. People want it. There's a movement to rename Lake Erie Lake Ohio. Apparently, I just saw this. Maybe just one guy on
following
social
in
media.
Trump's footsteps, huh?
I guess. So PJ's setting sail right about now for Providence with Jason Scrivener.
Are we going to make him get the YouTube episode up or no?
I don't know. Was he going to be in the arena just already anxious about the Johnnies maybe going down to a 15 seed and we're going to make him put YouTube up?
I don't know. I think he wants to. I've been trying to say don't do it. So this might be an audio. This is a throwback episode. That early part's definitely not getting edited out.
My internet went out. Trying to reconnect. That's a real throwback.
We are
happy Friday to everybody. That's what's going on.
When you notice the diminished audio quality, understand besides the commentary and analysis that PJ brings for the Champions Tour, he does elevate the show in other ways.
He's great. He has the highest Q rating of anybody at Fried Egg Enterprises right now. He was a hit at the Players Championship. Everybody wanted a piece of PJ.
Are we doing flashback or news?
Let's do news real quick. Speaking of Burns being a little bit lost, Victor Hovland has a new coach or an old coach. He's reconnected with Grant Waite. Apparently split from Denny Lucas. I got a tip about this, I don't know, a couple days ago. I forgot to share it. It went by the wayside. Now it's official. Shoepack is reporting this. So I don't know.
Shoepack's moving out of the mule category lately. He's been big game hunting with his.
So Hovland, new coach, little lost. We'll see. Scottie Scheffler did his Masters press conference yesterday, or Zoom conference, I guess it would be. Maybe it was a Cisco WebEx with our friends from, who knows? But he did a press conference ahead of the Masters, revealed his menu. I don't have any.
Do you have any menu takes?
No, I forget what it was. The skillet.
There's some redfish.
Yeah, T-bone, I think, or cowboy ribeye, something like that. Sure, it's fine.
Looks good.
I think the hoopla around the menus.
How about the hoopla around the menu? It's like kind of like the. It's reminiscent of the Seminole Pro member, where there's this hoopla around a dinner that nobody's ever going to play in. Nobody's going to ever eat.
It's interesting. So Scheffler he teed off, I suppose, about the current fracture in golf. He says they did what they wanted to do, and I can't control their life. I'm not going to sit here and say they should have done something differently. They made their choice. But if we want to figure out why the game of golf is not back together, go ask those guys. Go to wherever they are playing this week and figure out when the game is going to come back together.
Grumpy boy.
Grumpy boy. By Scottie standards, this is bombastic. He set a line similar to this though at the Players last year, about 365 days ago. It's like, I don't know. Don't ask me. Blame they're the ones who left and broke it up. It seems like not passing judgment, but also saying there's a very clear cause and effect here, and someone to blame. So that's Scottie Scheffler quote. I can appreciate that. If he's number one in the world, top dog, I don't want a lot of just cliches and boring answers. And he's got a little more zip on his fastball. Other news. Angela Stanford is going to be the Solheim Cup captain opposite Anna Nordqvist. I believe that's in the Netherlands. That Solheim Cup coming up in 2026.
You know where you could get some great analysis of that?
A year from now, or even rolling into it. At the Mixed Bag podcast. Boy, Andy, we are delighted. We are spreading our wings. We're becoming more professional. Not us, but the overall company. We have a women's golf podcast. Meg Atkins, who many of you are probably familiar with, has worked at Fried Egg for a while now. Great voice on women's golf, is teaming up with Matt Galloway, who we are giddy about. You and I, our whole team is pumped. He's a former LPGA caddy for Michelle Wee. As we know, caddies have the best takes, the best intel, the best sort of sources, the best perspective. So Matt knows the game.
He's removed enough, but still connected enough to be in the perfect position to
precisely
dispatch takes, gather information.
Yep. And he's been on Twitter, been on social media, kind of understands the voice, the media game. And Meg has obviously been commenting on women's golf. We are pumped about this. Add it, hit it, like, subscribe, swipe up, whatever the hell you do.
Smash the subscribe button.
Smash it. Add Mixed Bag to your rotation. We're pumped. It's another offering from the Fried Egg podcast universe. Maybe we're getting to universe. We'll see. So join that, and you'll hear about Angela Stanford becoming the Solheim Cup captain.
Maybe
that's
possibly, we don't know, but
who knows what's coming there. News. That's it for news. Let's do Masters fact of the day. The Masters is coming soon. This is from Bama Bearcat, our friend Bama Bearcat. During the decade of the 1980s, Severino Ballesteros had 7 top 5 finishes and 2 missed cuts at the Masters. He missed the cut in the years after both of his wins, 81 and 84, which makes me wonder, is hosting dinner just an immediate jinx, right? You got to do the dinner. So Sevy basically finished top 5 every single year for an entire decade, except 2, the years after he won. And he missed the cut. Because he's just the reigning champ. Do you think
he just got too tanked at the dinner?
Maybe hosting duties. I don't know. What do you think, Scotty? How about Phil just popping off saying Scotty's not the number one player in the world when he's got to go to dinner? He could put some X-Lax in the soup or whatever he's. I don't know. It's gonna make that dinner a little awkward.
Phil doesn't seem to care about what people think of him before the Masters dinner. I mean, him and Freddie it's gonna be weird with those two.
Call him a low-class jerk, I believe is what he called Freddie. Or a low-class jerk move. I don't know. Yeah, could be interesting.
Do you think Phil's going to make the cut? Who's the Phil's game against the game going to be? With Freddie, maybe. Freddie Phil game against game within the game.
That's a good one. We have to ponder that. It could be Roberto Campos, Bobby Campos, maybe with Phil. Could be a good one.
Number one player in the world, Bobby
Joe
Campos.
Highsmith. Yeah. We could come up with some good ones. That's your Masters fact of the day. Let's get to golf advice.
Flashback or golf advice.
What do you want to do?
Let's do golf advice, flashback, golf advice. Bookend it.
Okay. All right. So we'll do a couple here on the front end. All right. I pulled up like several. Keep sending these. All right.
You send them to sgsgolfadvice@gmail.com.
This is from someone who will remain anonymous and shared a lot of details that would probably out him and get him maybe tossed from his posh country club. So I'm going to try to protect him here. Male, early 50s, only interested in fighting injustice. I count myself lucky to be a member of a top 100 golf club. I'm not very long tenured member of the club, and like many people have joined clubs since the COVID golf boom, I find myself in an intermediate golf category where I cannot book tee times as far in advance as full status members, nor can I play on weekend or holiday mornings. I understood this to be the case when I joined, and I've dutifully been in the queue waiting my turn. While I do look forward to climbing the ranks, it hasn't been much of an issue until now. Then last year, we had a literal billionaire join the club. And it is, he provides detail. Boy has a lot of billions, not 1 billion. He's got many, many billions. Join the club. He joined a few seasons.
Out him.
What?
You're going to out this guy.
I'm not letting it go. He joined a few seasons after I did, so I would assume that he took his place in the queue as well. I certainly thought this was the case until I was told by a member of the staff that he was hustled through and is already in the full membership category. This high net worth individual doesn't even play golf at the club very much. He added the detail, many, many clubs, as you would imagine. He belongs to 12, 15 clubs. Doesn't even play golf at the club very much. So on the surface, being moved up and out of turn wouldn't impact other members that greatly. However, when you take into account that him being moved up is keeping another member at a lower tier for another 6 months, every 6 months, it starts to feel a little more impactful. To add to this, I learned just this week that a professional athlete provides who it is. I will keep that anonymous. Very, very popular professional athlete.
I'm excited to talk about this offline.
May have just signed he's done big things this year. Very notable athlete. Done big things this year. Was in the process of joining our club and had just been seen playing with the club president a few days ago. Hearing that he's joining and knowing that the billionaire was moved up out of turn made me all but certain that the athlete will also immediately be moved into full status, further slowing down the flow of us normal people into the higher statuses.
Had to be Aaron Rodgers, the athlete, right?
No,
I'm joking. It was a joke.
Okay.
Do you think people would slow him down? And
yeah. Hold up, bro.
Deshaun Watson.
Well, I'm aware of some places in Cleveland that he has not been able to get into. It's been on the table. I feel a bit of outrage about this. I've considered penning letters to members of the board who honestly would have no idea who I am. Again, normal person, normal status. Before I do anything rash, I thought I'd check in with you guys to get your take. And it's just, I'm sorry, that's not a good idea. Don't check in with us on anything.
Terrible.
We are
you're sabotaging the segment here, Brendan.
We're the definition of rash, as I can attest to with the conversation we had with PGA Tour Communications last week about the AI course setup tool. No, I'm just kidding. We like to pop off. Before I did anything rash, I thought I'd check in with you guys to get your take. Should I just accept the fact that this is the way the world works and that the billionaires and celebrity athletes will always get the special treatment? Do I just try to understand that the backroom deals and maneuvering of high-profile members are part of a country club life? Maybe you can talk me off the cliff a little bit with one, or maybe you'll agree with me that I should make a stink about it. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on this. He wants to write a letter to the board, angry. The board, he says, would not know him from Adam.
I think there's a way more diplomatic and perhaps a more effective way to go about this. I think you need to just befriend someone on the board.
Okay.
And you need to work through them.
Okay.
Because clearly these people are being pushed through, and the board is behind it. But there has to be somebody in the board that stands up and says, "This is effed up. We can't just have these people skipping the line."
Yeah.
And you need that person to be not your champion, the collective whole's champion that are in this membership category that you found yourself in.
Yeah. Yep. Don't write the letter.
Think?
Do not write the letter. I'm sorry. I'm sending you the details right now. It's the athlete, the club, the billionaires. Don't write the letter.
There's
nowhere.
There's a lot of billions.
It's a lot of billions. The athlete is a very notable one at the moment. Don't write the letter. Bad idea. They don't know who you're. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna walk in and tell the guy who's got $100 billion to, like,
in this circumstance too.
Yeah,
I think the context matters here. That place, you're gonna have to. You got to navigate. You got to get a political ally, but you also have to realize that there's minimal inertia to you, member X.
Yes. And you presumably want to be there a long time. You just don't. I think you could make a note of it. Maybe when you have a little more standing, or a year from now. Or you just start working the phones and make a comment in the right way. The letter's not getting you any effective. It's not getting you anywhere. What's done is done.
Also,
there's no effective impact to sending the letter.
Also, like in terms of like clubs, like I'm not gonna, but like this is not just like your neighborhood club.
It's a top 100 golf course,
and it's just it's not like It's not your. I don't want to give away the club here. I don't want to get this guy in trouble. But like you've got like you as an individual member at said club do not have a lot of like. It's not like your homie like
down at the end of the cul-de-sac in the neighborhood.
It's you can't. We've seen on the tour how bad letters go. Over. You
Charlie
cannot
Hoffman.
do this. You cannot. It's just not going to come across well.
All right, don't send the letter. That is our very I've never been more sure of an advice. Don't send the letter on that.
You got a back channel on this.
Figure it out. All right, you want to jump to flashback and then do another golf advice? I got a bunch more. Let's do flashback on Chip Beck.
Chip Beck. I did this because I got a piece of fried egg merch sent to me. And we put trading cards we have for years in the package.
Dumb little quirk, but people love them. You get the 1980s and 90s trading cards.
If you didn't get one, it's because we ran out. Like we get the boxes and wait. Like we don't always have cards.
Yeah. By the way, check out proshop.thefriedegg.com. You might get a card with your purchase. The merch is flying off the shelves.
My buddy, a former roommate of mine from my 20s, ordered some gear, and I think our shipping department knew who it was. Guess what card he got?
J. Don Blake.
Jack Nicklaus. I said
probably got some value.
Might be worth something.
Might be worth more than the sweatshirt or the polo you got. That's good.
So I got Chip Beck. What do you know about Chip Beck?
I know he's got 2 syllables in his name. It's a good one. Believe he played the Kiowa Ryder Cup. Was notable there.
Was on that Ryder Cup team. He's got some good tales from that Ryder Cup.
He was just kind of in that, like, I want to say that Zinger cohort of players, like buddies with them, kind of
partnered up with Zinger in the Ryder Cup.
Above average player, like good, steady, solid tour pro in that like late 80s into mid 90s.
You didn't say 59. He shot the second ever 59 on tour.
After Al Geiberger, right? Okay.
Which came maligned. It's kind of like a 59 today. There's a lot of like, well,
what happened?
Well, we'll get into it.
Okay.
So Chip Beck, Beck's near and dear to my heart. He didn't grow up. He lived in the town next to me where I grew up. And growing up a golfer, there was always like stuff. I remember my grandma, who did not play golf, or did not know much about golf, told me that Chip Beck was the number one player in the world, which was not true. But as a kid, I thought he was the number one player in the world.
Yeah.
And that he lived 15 minutes from me, when I was an impressionable youth.
Andy, little Andy, we got the number one player down the street.
I'm going to do a couple bullet points here on Chip before we dive in. So it's just a few. This is not a spotlight. Chip Beck's not really worthy of a spotlight. I don't want to be mean, but we haven't gotten to Lee Trevino part 2. I wasn't going to go full blown spotlight on Chip Beck. So we're just going to play some of the hits. So a couple bullets just to whet your appetite here. He was the second player in PGA Tour history to shoot 59. It happened in Vegas. He won 4 times in his PGA Tour career, but he finished runner-up 20 times. 20 runner-ups.
What? I figured he had like 9, somewhere in like the 8 to 12 wins range. Just the amount of time I heard about Chip Beck as a kid. Not as much as you, apparently, but I felt like he was just a 10-time winner.
So
4, but 20 runner-ups.
20 runner-ups.
Okay.
He'd runner-up in 3 majors, 2 U.S. Opens, and a Masters. And we'll get into those runner-ups because one of them was very controversial.
Bridesmaid Beck. That's what we'll call him. Yeah. Bridesmaid Beck. Always on this number 2. All right.
3 Ryder Cups. He was on 3 Ryder Cups.
Okay.
He won the Varden. He was the Varden Trophy winner for lowest scoring average in 1988. That used to be a big deal.
Yeah.
3-time All-American in Georgia. And he also completely lost his game.
Oh, no.
He missed 46 cuts in a row.
Oh, wow.
Of his career.
That is dire.
So
talk to fellow dog B. Todd about that.
We're going to get into all of these highlights throughout the career.
Okay.
All right. Let's get into his first win. So his first win came at the LA Open in 1988. Beck went forever without winning. He had been on tour for 10 years, but he hadn't won. At this time, he had finished second 7 times, including the U.S. Open at Shinnecock in 86.
Okay.
He had the most runner-ups of anybody on tour without a win. So he breaks through in 88 with 2 wins in 2 months. In the first one at the LA Open.
Oh.
Guess who finished second?
What year did you say? 88. Who? J. Don Blake, I guess.
It's a favorite spot. Probably our favorite spotlight we've ever done.
I love them all equally. Woosie?
Mac O'Grady.
Oh, Mac. Wacko Macko. All right.
So he beats Mac O'Grady.
Love that. That was a good one.
By 4 shots. Now, what made matters more interesting about this, it was the pupil taking on the teacher, defeating the teacher. So he was he was a huge Mac O'Grady disciple.
Got it. Okay.
So Mac O'Grady, for those that haven't listened to the Spotlight, you should go check it out. It was a couple years ago. I think it's some of our best work ever.
It's good.
I'm sure others will at some point get into the Mac O'Grady rabbit hole, but honestly, one of the best stories in golf. We did a probably 2.5 hour episode on Mac O'Grady
Was well
during
received.
COVID.
Hey, did you see he tried to Monday Q into the Hogue Classic?
Oh,
he
amazing.
popped up. Smartin had a video of him. I think he walked off or something, but he was seen playing golf, I think, to get into the Champs Tour event in Southern California this week.
we got to reshare that video with the episode.
Yeah.
So he beats Mac O'Grady by 4 shots. Now, Chip Beck in the lead up. So he's been playing on tour for 10 years, hasn't won. He almost lost his game. He almost quit. He almost stopped before anything. And it was Mac O'Grady, the Morad system that pulled him out of the gutter. Here's what he said after the win. It was Mac, said Beck, who changed my golf swing and my career. Wow. So he just loves Mac O'Grady.
Okay.
Also, it's like if you look up Morad disciples, Chip Beck's like first page.
Okay.
Notable Morad disciples.
All right.
So then he wins New Orleans a couple weeks later, and he ends the season second on the money list to, it's 88. Who do you think was first on the money list?
Curtis Strange.
You're right. Another spotlight guy. Might not have gone over to the Open that year.
Didn't even.
But won the money list.
Boats. Yeah, like PJ. All right.
So now I want you to also guess what is total. So second highest earning player on tour. What's his total?
For Chip Beck was number 2 in 1988. 225,000. No, that's too low.
Way too low.
850.
916.
Okay.
So shy of $1 million.
All right.
Number 2 on the money list.
Okay.
I think it moved him to like 18th or 19th on career money list, and he had like I didn't write this down, but it was like 2 point something million.
All right.
He was like the 19th most profitable player, or not profitable, but highest earner in PGA Tour history at the time at 2 million and change. Here's an New York Times article. Beck had been 33rd and 34th on the money list in 1983 and 1984. His 5th and 6th seasons on tour. But in 85, he slipped back to 97th. His game, he felt, was simply falling apart on him. So this is when he was going to Mac O'Grady. The other influence was Hogan, though. So those were dreary days for Beck when, as he said, he was coming to the end of my rope. But then he'd summoned Ben Hogan in his mind's eye. When his wife Terry and young son Charles were asleep in their house in Fayetteville, North Carolina, Beck, wearing weighted gloves and taking a weighted golf club, would regularly go out to the garage, turn on a small bare bulb, and hit hundreds of golf balls into a shadowy net and think of Hogan's struggle.
A weighted glove?
Weighted gloves and weighted club. Think about this. Think about today's modern tour pro. Like, okay, Chip Beck, 3 Ryder Cups. Think about Sam Burns.
Yeah.
Going out and putting his kid to sleep.
Yeah.
Going out and hitting into a net with in his garage with a bare bulb off a mat with weighted club and weighted gloves. Like, think about how much the game's changed.
Yeah. Number 2 player in the world, essentially. He's making can't get to a milli. You get that for a runner-up these days in 1 week. All right.
I was there one night 3 years ago when he was going through his routine, whacking ball after ball, he said with intermittent grunts. Hogan didn't win a tournament until he was 27 years old. I'm only a little past that. He was then 29. Sometimes it just takes a while to get it all together. I think I have. I hope I have. He studied the technique of bashing a golf ball, contemplating the elements of the physics and the physiology and the psychology that went into conquering all those hills and dales and all those fairways and greens across the country. No one worked harder than I did, said Beck.
He was going to be Ben Hogan. Hogan didn't win until he was 27.
Well, we'll get into some stuff that Chip Beck did that Hogan probably didn't do either.
All right.
So okay. Beck's wins, incredible list of runner-ups. So you got Mac O'Grady as his first win. Lanny Watkins at his second win.
Yeah.
Hale Irwin and Fuzzy Zeller at his third win.
Wow.
And fourth win, Greg Norman.
Holy cow. Beating
like
some
when
whales
he won,
there.
He beat
Yeah.
whales.
Yeah.
All right. So he shoots 59. This was like, Al Geiberger was like, nobody's going to shoot 59 forever.
Right.
Because they don't have to conquer just like the golf course. They have to conquer the psychology of 59.
Yep.
So he shoots 59 in Vegas, and it was met with a lot of criticism. His 59.
Pre-Summerlin model. Okay. All right.
Pre-Summerlin model, but it came at a new golf course, a brand new golf course.
Okay. What was it?
We'll get into it. It was called Sunrise.
Okay. All right.
So there's a great John Garrity article in the Sports Illustrated vault about this. Here's the intro. Let's concede that Chip Beck should have shot his 59 in the final round of the Masters, and gale force wins with someone else's clubs, with his wife in the hospital having a baby, and with some jerk yelling, "You're the man" on every tee. Now that would have been a 59 that everyone could have respected.
Oh my God.
The 59 Beck did shoot, child's play. The course was less than a year old. The greens were perfect. The roughs weren't rough. The wind didn't blow. Nearly everybody else was inside watching the Clarence Thomas confirmation hearings.
No.
And besides, let's face it, $500,000, the golfer's portion of the $1 million bonus for breaking 60, just isn't enough to make a guy choke anymore. So there's a $1 million bonus for breaking 60 on tour.
Oh.
Half of it went to charity. Half of it went to the player. This doesn't exist anymore.
A real game within the game there. They need that. They need to bring that back.
And
like
you think
little side games.
Think about this. A couple of years earlier, he was second in the money list. He made $900,000. This
right.
Like, imagine if the breaking 60 bonus was like $10 million.
Yeah. I think they'd have to make it like 58 at this point,
Yeah.
But yes. So I love this. Just for all the haters who say we're just cranky on Twitter about 59 and people go at LaMagna. Well, look, this was happening in the 80s. Like, that's discounting the 59. So sorry. It's always a little scrutiny and context are warranted. Go ahead.
The asterisk bearers and professional minimizers were up his pant leg in an instant. No way, they claimed, could the Beck's 59 and a 10.5-month-old at the 10.5-month-old Sunrise Golf Club be compared with the only previous 59 in PGA Tour history, which was shot by Al Geiberger in the second round of this 1977 Memphis Classic on the mature tree-lined course at the Colonial Country Club. Beck's 59 was tainted, they said, because he shot it on an easy course. Sunrise has no rough and no shade. The freshly planted saplings lining the fairways are not much thicker than a flagstick. And when the tour sophomore Robert Gamez got a look at the place last week, he predicted someone would shoot 59.
Wow. Robert Gamez. Nostradamus.
So anyways, everybody's talking about how bad the course is. Luckily for Chip Beck, none other than Jim Colbert, former tour player and ESPN golf commentator, comes to his defense.
Okay.
How can you belittle that? Colbert said. Is what he said about the course.
I don't want to mess with him. Yeah.
Now I left out some very important information about Colbert.
Okay.
He was the co-designer and co-owner of Sunrise.
Oh, no. That's so good.
Colbert resented the implication that the soft course design and not Beck's shot making was behind the score.
Oh, Colbert, original bucket hat boy, I believe. That's good. That's good.
Yes, the scores in Vegas were low enough to invite ridicule. All but one of the 75 players who made the cut finished 10 under par or better.
Oh, that's crazy. That's not.
That's because the Vegas Invitational is a 90-hole pro-am The rough on the tournament's 3 courses. So there's 3 courses.
Got it.
There's like Vegas Country Club, this and something else. The rough was scalped to speed the play of the amateurs.
Sure.
I can't believe they knew how to do that without the AI course setup tool.
Morgan Stanley AI course setup tool.
That's right. That's why bogeys were as rare as earmuffs in the desert. Bruce Litsky shot a second round 63 at Sunrise. Jim Gallagher Jr. and Dickie Thompson had the course record 61s at Las Vegas Country Club, where the eventual winner, Andrew McGee, fired a 62. Oh. Steve Jones called it a turkey shoot after firing a 63 on Friday at Sunrise. Beck, even with a 59 and 3 other rounds in the 60s, finished 2 shots behind McGee and D.A. Weibring, who had 5 round totals of 31 under par before McGee prevailed in a playoff. Okay. So, interesting note about his 59. This might be the most impressive part of the 59. He shot 59 with 3 amateur partners. The pro-am was that 1 pro, 3 amateurs for 5 rounds.
Cow. Oh my God. That just chopping away? And you got to wait?
Can you imagine playing this tournament?
That would not go over today. The entitled pampered Fs would not permit that. That's crazy.
Insane. Insanity. Complete insanity.
God, waiting 10 minutes in between each shot.
Now, this might be the second most impressive part of this. The story within the story is that Beck hadn't seen sunrise until sunset the day before. On Thursday, after shooting a 72 at the Desert Inn and Country Club. So that's the third course. It was Vegas Country Club, Desert Inn Country Club, and Sunrise. He practiced putting at Sunrise while his caddy, David Woosley, walked the course to ascertain the yardage on each hole. Neither man had ever set foot on the course until then.
That's nuts. Okay.
Woosley says it's a good course, but a young course. Visually, it lacks definition, which made it easier, but more difficult too. I'd say to Chip, you see that telephone pole half a mile down there? That's your target. The you point, I'll shoot tactic proved significant. Beck has a tendency to look ahead to the next hole, which sometimes interferes with his ability to concentrate on the shot at hand. At Sunrise, Beck's mind had nowhere to run to, Colbert's words, because he never knew what was coming up. It probably helped me stay in the present tense, said Beck, delighted by the insight. So he buried the last 3 holes to shoot 59. He hit it to 3 feet on his 18th hole. And he said not until he reached the green, Beck claims, did thoughts of the money or his place in golf lore make him wobbly. He asked his partners to putt out, and then he went to the side of the green to practice his stroke. The putt got a little longer as I waited, said Beck.
Yep.
So
sure. The AMs.
All right. Now, let's get to the next. This is a Beck. We got the Beck highlight. I'm going to give you the Beck low light. And it was his runner-up at the 1993 Masters. He got cooked. I mean, crucified.
Why?
So he was playing with Bernard Longer, who won the 93 Masters.
I was going to say, that's Longer, right?
So it's Sunday. He's 3 shots back of Longer on the 15th hole, and he hits a drive, and he's the only player within 5 shots of Longer. They're on the 15th hole. Longer hits the fairway. Beck hits the fairway. Beck's 10 yards ahead of him. Longer lays up. Beck has 236 to the front of the green, and what does he do?
What'd you say? Sorry, he had how long to the green front?
So Longer lays up. He's 10 yards ahead of Longer. He's 236. He's 3 back. Nobody else is within 5. He's 236 to the front edge of the 15th green.
I mean, I assume he hits it in the water.
He lays up.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
He was the only guy within 5.
Protecting the points.
Protects the points. And if you Google Chip Beck layup, 93 Masters. Every sports writer in America just cooked. They just teed off on the guy.
Come on. 236?
So
what did he make a 5? What did he end up doing?
He made a 5. They both made a 5.
Oh my God.
He finished in second. Nobody within 5 except for him. Only guy that could catch him. So important data point here.
That is so bad.
It's so bad.
What are you doing? David Woosley or whatever is the caddy. Okay, go ahead.
He at the time, in '93, he was 97th on the PGA Tour in driving distance. Guess what the number was?
247.
257.
Okay, that's crazy.
So it's a big carry. I mean, he had to nut a 3-wood.
Sure.
He had to probably hit a perfect 3-wood to get there. But still. Come on.
Be a hero. You're finishing runner-up probably no matter what. Like, come on.
You make a double, you're still tied for second.
Yeah. We hit the 40-minute mark.
We got to keep going.
No, this is fabulous. Yeah.
So I'm going to read one of the articles that just cooked him. Not all the article, but I'm going to just read some excerpts from it. Jim Murray, LA Times. I mean, and I have to say, as a member of the golf media, where did this golf media go? If players think they had it bad now, bad now.
Yeah.
This is what used to get
anything.
Yeah.
They say. Yeah.
All right, Jim Murray, LA Times. Listen, when your corner pushes you out into the center of the ring in round 15 and says you have to knock the guy out to win, you don't run out there and clinch. When Newt Ronke calls the squad into the locker room to give them a pep talk and go out and beat Army, you don't go out there and punt. You don't fold 3 aces. You don't go gently into the good night. Into that good night, you rage against the dying of the light. You echo John Paul Jones when your back is up against the wall. You say, "I have not yet begun to fight." And then there's Chip Beck.
A lot of references.
Chip more or less handed the 57th Masters to Bernard Longer on Sunday.
I don't know about that. It seems like Longer was going to win, but yeah, it didn't help matters.
You might say he quit in his corner. Longer might have won it anywhere, but Chip didn't take any chances. He made sure. Here were the circumstances. 2 golfers, Beck and Longer. All that was left of the competitive field come down to the final 9 on Sunday. Longer had a 3-shot lead going into the 15th hole. Can you imagine Arnold Palmer laying up in that situation? Ben Hogan? Look at that. Cuts to Ben Hogan. Can you picture Babe Ruth going up with the game on the line and the team needing a 3-run homer and he bunts? Can you picture Dempsey with his back against the ropes, backing off and dancing around? Beck had to go for it in that situation. He has 3 shots to make up and 3 more holes to play. You get in the position once in a lifetime. You haul out the wood and go for an eagle or settle for a chicken. Beck laid an egg. Beck is a kind of strange, ethereal young man who says golly and gee whiz a lot and sometimes seems to be playing the game just for a living. I mean, it beats driving a truck. He went 10 years on tour without winning a tournament, and it didn't seem to bother him greatly. He finished respectfully on the money list. He was steady, unspectacular, likable, but not very exciting. A lot of people thought he was the wrong guy to be chasing Germany's Pride and Joy Saturday. You needed someone with more fire. Maybe they were right. In the press room later, Chip sought to explain his otherwise incomprehensible decision. I stood there, he said earnestly. I had a really good drive, but I stood there and thought it was just marginal whether I can make it or not. I had hit the ball so well all day, but I thought it was a little bit too much of a risk for me, and I didn't want to throw away the tournament on one shot. Good enough, Chipper. You threw away the tournament on that shot anyway. Because as a matter of fact, Chip undid whatever questionable strategy he had by hitting his subsequent approach shot over the green anyway, while Longer coolly put his in birdie range. It was like deciding to punt and then getting it blocked. It'll never make a Rocky movie. Stallone wouldn't want any part of this casting. Rambo, it ain't. All right, later in the article.
I mean, this is like, these guys had nothing to write about, right? They've got this German machine winning for the second time. He's up by a lot. Like, this is giving the media, like, we don't really have a story. And then boom, just like a red meat on a plate. They have something to just go in on.
So he cooks them for like another 500 words. And here's the end of the story. He can tell his grandkids he finished second in the Masters. He won't want to tell them how.
Oh Bring the grandkids into it.
Think about this. In 1935, in this tournament, Gene Sarazen, trailing by 3 strokes with 4 holes to play, took out a 4-wood out on this hole and sank it for a 2 to win the tournament. It was celebrated in a song and in a verse as the golf shot heard around the world. Beck's shot will be heard around the world too. In Germany, they will hoist the Becks and drink toast to it.
Oh, so that's so good. From the media perspective, this was just like, they didn't know what, they was like, oh, this is boring. And then they had just absolute thing to punch at for 800 words.
You could read 20 versions of this story. Every headline, headline just eviscerates him.
Yep.
All right. Yep. Let's get to a Daily Mail article from a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So actually, real quick, it was speculated that this like led to Beck losing his game.
Okay.
Because he started to chase
criticism.
Yeah, because he started to chase distance.
Okay.
All right. So he played in these Ryder Cups. This is a Daily Mail article, and these are just some great quotes about the Ryder Cup. Things were different then, he says. Man, there were parties every night. It was great, but it definitely taxed you. One time I came in from practicing, ran the bath, but I was so tired that I fell asleep and the tub overfilled. Tom Watson's first wife, Linda, was in the bathroom in the room below. She looks up and all this water is coming through. Now let's talk a little bit about Woosie. Back then, all the Europeans liked a drink. In 1991 at Keel Island, I don't think I saw Woosie without a drink in his hand. He always had a good time. I played him in the singles that year in 91. He was the number 1 player in the world and had won the Masters. And I remember thinking, how is this guy going to beat me? He's loaded every night of the week. I had a hole out from the fairway and bunkers to pinch a win in that match. What a great player. What a player he was, by the way. All right. Now,
another
Seve.
flashback or spotlight you got to check out. Woosie was a big one. Yeah.
All right. Now, Seve. Seve was a hot-blooded stallion. What a guy. I played him and Jose Maria with Paul Azinger and the rose Seve and Zinger would have. In 1991, it was a good one. We had changed our ball by mistake. Man, Seve and Zinger argued for 15 minutes. Zinger then charged a putt past the hole because he was so angry. That's the strength of feeling you get in the Ryder Cup, bickering and competing. I loved it. We argued with him about chip clubs, balls, everything. One time he hooks this ball out of bounds and wants to drop in front of the tee box. No way he beats us from that spot, but Zinger wouldn't allow it. Seve also had this way of coughing at the top of your backswing. He later got it checked out medically, but that was the tickle in his throat. Sure happened at convenient times. So here's a little. So he loses his game in the mid to late 90s, 96 and 97. Between those, he misses 46 straight cuts. Amidst these, he gets in a slump. Where do you think he turns?
Where?
Who's going to be his savior? Who's going to be his swing savior?
In the 90s?
In his slump, yeah.
Oh, Ledbetter?
No, Mac O'Grady.
He went back to the Morad? Okay. All right.
At this point, it hasn't been a lot of good progress. This is from a Greensboro News and Record article in like 90s.
Wacko Macko.
So at this point, there hasn't been a lot of good progress. Beck, who did not finish higher than a tie for 40th in his first 9 events of this season. But there is promise for the future. So he talks about the rekindling with Mac. We ran into each other on the range. He's a very generous and very kind man. When he sees someone struggling, he wants to help. We are just trying to get my best swing out more often. It's too in-depth to try and go into. It's like learning to play the piano. It's so much harder talking about it unless you reach a certain level of proficiency. A great pianist starts early. He or she will probably have 10,000 more practice hours than the ones who start at age 10 or 11. It's like ballet. You have to have synchronized motion. I feel like I feel like I'm where I want to be. I just haven't had a performance I want yet. Beck's scoring average over his first 36 rounds of the year was a hefty 71.77. His lowest score has been a 68, and he's just posted 16 rounds under par. My scoring has been really up and down. I've been chipping well, putting well. I've been driving it well for about 2 years. But there's a tremendous amount of energy involved in playing at a high level. Sometimes you do, and sometimes you just don't. My game has progressed steadily since the first of the year. It's just going to take some good performances. I have to start hitting good shots at key times. That's important.
That would matter.
Either during or shortly after this interview, he went on the 46 missed cut streak.
Oh, no.
It either coincided at the beginning of it or it was right after.
So Morad was of a time and place, and that was not the 90s version of Chip Beck. Okay.
So he retires to sell insurance. So this is the Lake Forest. This is the Lake Forest version of him. He was selling insurance, property insurance. So he retired.
Can you imagine having to do that? Being like this day and age, basically play on tour for
Victor Hovland starts selling insurance.
10 years. You're number 2, a Varden winner, trophy winner, like incredible.
I missed 46 cuts in a row. This is his quote that later, like in life. I missed 46 cuts in a row around 97, and at that point, it was costing me around $5,000 to get to the first tee, and only to make nothing. He says,
"That's pain."
I was going broke pretty much, and I had 6 kids. I had to do something, didn't I?
Spit take. Sorry, 6 kids.
6 kids. 2. So it was second marriage, first marriage, 2 kids, second marriage, 4 kids. So he says he had the driver yips. That narrowly forced him to give up the game. But then when he turned 50 in 2006, he joined the Champions Tour.
Of course.
And had a resurgence.
Of course. Low windfall, post 50.
So he played the Champions Tour and kept selling insurance. Probably was a great gig for selling insurance.
Yeah. Life insurance, maybe.
I think it was property insurance.
Okay, right.
Property and casualty. So he changed his stronger grip, and that revitalized his career for a solid run on the Champions Tour. He says the grip style dictates everything. He said, if you can let the club go with all the fingers, that's a proper grip. If I had known this then, I would have won a U.S. Open.
I was going to say. He's saying this at like 52?
Yeah. If I had known this then, I would have won a U.S. Open. I came close as it was. And that's Chip Beck. There's your Chip Beck.
Pen lights. You got a card and your shipment. And then we went down the rabbit hole. I love this.
Fun one.
That was a good one. That was a really good one.
The layup at the Masters. Just unbelievable.
I'm trying to think of it doesn't happen this day and age, no matter what.
I mean, think about a 3-time Ryder Cup player selling insurance.
That's what I was like. He played every 2 years in the Ryder Cup. He's one of the top 12 Americans, and he doesn't, have a pot to piss in when he retires. He's got to sell insurance.
How about Woosie? How's this guy gonna beat me?
He's never loaded saw him without a drink. Pretty good. Oh, that's good.
All right. I think that does it.
Should we do another golf advice? No. We've got a bunch. We've got some great ones. We'll keep sending
Maybe
those.
we'll do a
SGS
special
Golf Advice
SGS Golf Advice episode.
at gmail.com. I got some really good ones from our friends at the John Deere Classic. Good one there. So we'll get into that next time. All right. Enjoy your weekends. Enjoy the NCAA tournament. Good. Best of luck to your Fighting Illini. Good luck to PJ's Johnny's tonight as we record this. Enjoy your weekends. We'll be back with you on Monday.